Ukraine is fighting for democracy, the right to choose their own leaders and presidents. But they are so busy fighting and using billions and billions of American taxpayer dollars that they have to put a pause on democracy. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to ANN, American News Network. I'm your host, Vlad. Let's get right into it. There are huge protests happening in Kiev right now. And the protests are against Zelensky. The Ukrainian people are seeing what's happening. They are tired of it all. They are tired of billions of dollars of aid going missing, of Zelensky and his goons buying multi-million-dollar mansions all over the world, waterfront properties in Egypt. So why are these protests happening? And what are the people seeing? The corruption. The Ukrainian people are tired of the non-stop corruption. So Zelensky was exposed yesterday. He exposed himself in an interview that he did with a Ukrainian news company. I don't know if he just did a little, a little too much nose candy and wasn't thinking about what he was saying. But here's how it all went. In 2024, Ukraine is supposed to have a presidential election. Zelensky a couple months ago said, we will not be holding an election because, we're under Russian occupation. But then there are videos popping up all over the internet where if you're not on the east side on the east Ukraine, Donbass, you're living life. People are partying, people are going to the clubs. All these low-level police officers buying brand new Hummers, Mercedes, BMWs. And so now people are seeing that the war is not going their way. Zelensky approval ratings dropped very, very low because he ran on a promise to end corruption, to end thievery in the government, and to end the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, but he made it worse. He himself did not fulfill the Minsk Accords, and then that's why it all turned out into a full-scale invasion. So he was asked a couple months ago about the election and if he thinks he's going to win, and he said, we're not going to have an election. See, why we can't have an election is because, we're too busy fighting the big bad Russians. Okay, well, the people weren't having it. The people started rising up, and other countries like the United States and Europe said, wait, what do you mean? Even when we're at wars, we have elections in our countries. That should not stop you from running an election. And yesterday, during an interview, Zelensky said, and I quote, I told the United States that if they want us to have an election next year, we need $5 billion to run it. What? Why should the American taxpayer pay for your election? See, really quickly, we are in week 11 of the long-awaited spring, then it went to summer, now we're almost in fall, counteroffensive. Well, how's that counteroffensive going? Over 60,000 young men, fathers, sons, brothers, the people who didn't have the money to pay a bribe and leave the country are no longer here. They got counteroffended. Yeah. They went on the counteroffensive and then got counteroffended, and they're never coming home. 60,000 in 11 weeks. Right? It was supposed to, first we gave them the javelins. Then we gave them other weapons. We gave them drones, unmanned fighter bombs. Then we gave them the Abram tanks. Germany gave them the Leopards. Right? And all these things every time are supposed to shift the narrative, and Ukraine's gonna get them. Now they're getting the F-16s, and guess what? Nothing's gonna change. The story's going to be the same. See, history repeats itself. Right now, there are literally German tanks burning in Ukraine. This happened during World War II, and it's happening again. And Zelensky wants more money. He wants your money. And really quickly, I'm going to finish with this. There's a narrative online when people start asking the question, and if you're ever talking to a Ukraine supporter, ask him this question: where did Zelensky get all of his billions from? I mean, he's got a $32 billion mansion in Miami. He's got a $10 million condo in New York. He just bought a $5 million waterfront in Egypt, in Spain, all over the place. Even in Crimea, Zelensky owns a multi-million-dollar property. Now, where does he get this money from? And the narrative from the libs on the far left extreme side, they say, well, he was a famous comedian. He was a famous comedian in the poorest and most corrupt country in all of Europe. And you're going to tell me he's worth more than Dave Chappelle and Kevin Hart? Who are, in the richest country in the world? But that guy there is more rich and made more money off comedy than these two legends, especially Dave Chappelle? Doesn't make sense. No. He's a thief. I believe that he ran with good intentions. Right? At least what he said. Up until he won, he was calling Russians. He said that's our brother nation to the Ukrainians because we actually historically are. I'm Russian. My wife's Ukrainian. We speak almost the same language. Our culture is the same. We were raised the same. We believe in the same things. But he ran on good things. As soon as he won, he started calling Russians the enemy of Ukraine. When if it wasn't for the Russians in the Soviet Union, Crimea would have never been part of Ukraine. Donbas would have never been part of Ukraine. Lviv used to be Polish territory. It would have never been part of Ukraine if it wasn't for the Soviet Union. Ukraine never existed as a government until the Soviet Union. And it was just a republic. It became part of, and then it became an independent state in 1989. They didn't even have their own constitution until 1996. And the question with Crimea, those people never wanted to be part of Ukraine because they had their own Crimean constitution in 1992. This is when they wrote it up. So it's a long story. Video, I want to make one soon explaining details, but it's more complicated than we think. But Zelensky, when he sits down and says the only way we will hold an election next year is if I get $5 billion. No, Zelensky. You shouldn't. It's your country, your election. You figure it out. We already gave you like $200 billion too much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to really quickly thank the sponsor of this channel, Mike Lindell, with his company's My Store and My Pillow. Use links down below in the description with promo code ANN at checkout. Huge discount. There's also a link to my merch store, MAGAmerchus.com. Get your patriotic t-shirt, represent freedom and style. Thank you everyone who shares my videos on Twitter and Facebook. It means a lot. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share. Hit that bell notification button so you're notified every time I upload Trump 2024 or sooner.